Senator Hunt, you're recognized to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise today in support of the bracket motion, and not to debate the finer points of economics or rehash arguments about labor policy, but just to make the simple point that the people of Nebraska spoke clearly in 2022 when they voted to raise the minimum wage. They voted for a specific dollar amount. They voted for a timeline of scheduled increases, and they voted for those increases to be tied to the cost of living. That's it. The measure was debated publicly. It was campaigned on. It did not have a strong opposition campaign when it was on the ballot, and it was passed by a strong majority of voters across the state in all of our districts. And our job now is not to revise it or reinterpret it or undercut it. Our job is to respect it and implement it fully and faithfully. I was speaking with Senator Conrad this morning and Senator McKinney, and it's kind of incredible, the gaslighting this session in this chamber, and just, the will of the people doesn't matter, the best practices and precedent doesn't matter, op-eds don't matter, emails from the voters don't matter. We can do whatever we want anyway, and this measure is an exact example of what I'm talking about. We don't have to agree with the policy to do our duty here. Some of you may have opposed the minimum wage increase at the time, and you still may believe that it will hurt small businesses or impact your own businesses, but it's not our role for us to substitute our personal judgment for the will of the electorate. We're here because the people put their trust in this process and in us, and now they expect us to honor that trust. LB258 directly undermines that expectation. This bill attempts to rewrite a key part of what voters passed by weakening what they passed, rewriting it, creating a second-class citizen tier of wage earners based on age. That doesn't make sense to me. How about we make a different tier of wage based on older people? If we're saying 14, 15, 16 teenagers can't earn the same wage as everybody else, there's all kinds of limitations that people have based on their age. But that's not something that would ever fly. We're not talking about a minor tweak or technical correction. We're talking about overriding the people's decision. If we pass this bill, we are telling Nebraskans that their vote only counts when it's convenient for us. That's not a democracy, it's not public service, and it's not the role of a citizen legislature. I doubt that many of you look at Reddit. It's a website, it's kind of like a social media website that's like a forum. People can post a main thread, and then folks can make comments underneath it. I am not a big Reddit user. I'm really not. I'm never on there, but I think it's a really good way to kind of gauge how the public is feeling about things in Nebraska. I'm more active on things like Twitter and Instagram and a little bit Facebook, but what's interesting about Reddit is you can go on there and you can find sites that are like Omaha specific or Lincoln or Nebraska politics, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are active on these forums, way more than Twitter, So I see people's feedback on Twitter and stuff like that, but that's not even really that representative of our constituents. But if you look on Reddit and you see like the Nebraska, it's called a subreddit, like the page where they post these things. It's people of all ages, all backgrounds, from western Nebraska, from central Nebraska, all over the state, resoundingly flabbergasted by what this legislature is doing with minimum wage and many other things, but that's the topic of the day here. They're asking things like, why do we even vote? What's the point of voting if the legislature is going to turn around and do the other thing? There's hundreds and hundreds of comments of Nebraskans saying things like this. And these are real Nebraskans. These aren't trolls. These aren't people from other states coming in and talking. And this is where they talk amongst themselves not even reaching out to us. I mean, we know Nebraskans have been emailing our offices and calling us, telling us, begging us not to support this measure.
Time, Senator.
But you can see it. Thank you, Mr. President.